Yes, when aid is phased out, countries should pick up the bill, and financing alone is not enough. There's more needed. They need to pick up the bill because the funding requirements are very high, so we need to look into other sources of funding. And the funding, as it currently is not sustainable. Funding is often from external sources and not from the countries itself, and that makes them very vulnerable. We need not just focus on financial sustainability, but we definitely need to take into consideration ecological or environmental sustainability. Particularly when you look at global trends in terms of climate change, looking at environmental sustainability is also key to make sure that the services which are being set up and provided to people are sustained into the future.
So for the Max Foundation, it's really important for us to have an exit strategy. When we begin a program, we're already thinking about when we will leave. And the reason is that the organization has been founded on the idea of effective altruism and getting maximum value for money. So when we are trying to do an intervention, we're thinking about how to save as many children's lives as possible. Every children's life is important. So rather than sticking around for a very long time, we want to get in, get out, and know that it's going to be self-sustaining and move on to somewhere else.
Exit strategies, an idea from the past, or perhaps old-fashioned language. I think it's old-fashioned language that comes from a time when development aid was seen as a form of charity. We're giving something to poor people of the South. I think that we've moved past that now. We work in a globalized, interconnected world. So the idea that you would go into a country and hand over some knowledge that you have by the fact that you come from a wealthier country and that you're then going to leave, I think is very outdated. Actually, we face this set of global and interconnected challenges that we all have to solve. So for me, it's much more interesting to talk about how you enter a country, how you become embedded in a country, how you become part of what's going on in that country. You become a local actor and you begin to affect change.
So for me, the main takeaway of this event is that it is a blended approach, not an easy one-line thought about phasing out or exiting NGO strategies. One of the comments was that we phase out the more successful countries like Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, but these are also the countries where a lot of innovations start that are applicable for other regions. So the question to the government was, if you phase out certain countries that have good ecosystems for development of innovations, how to treat that issue.
First of all, I would say that the points made by the different actors reflects the interests of the different types of organizations that are present. And when it's about strategy, I think the takeaway is that a lot of the ways of moving forward relate to opportunistic strategic behavior. If it is about sustainability and impact for people, I think it's very important to be clear, honest on the way you approach things, but also on why you say things and why you believe things and why it's written on paper in strategies. And I think there's something lacking in terms of openness in that sense, with the risk that we return to the cycle of lack of success, lack of impact, which are often caused by that lack of transparency, openness, and let's call it honesty.
I think that many of the discussions about developed and developing countries are cyclic, in the sense that we've heard these discussions before, and there's a lot of theories about discussions that and developments about development thinking that we have been going through, that sometimes we don't take sufficiently into the discussion and then present it again as if it's a new thing. Of course, the world is not divided between developed countries and non-developed countries. There's no such binary distinction. We are all part of this world, and there's a graduation or a gradual difference of problems. So we can learn from each other.